they have all relied on the center to get whatever they want, to keep control over the southeastern political, people. And they know that they are running out of time. If NNAMDI KANU is released, that would not continue. We no longer enjoy what they're enjoying now. Whatever it is, whether it is fake or real popularity or power, they will lose it. They know it. Because I will reveal to you today that one of the biggest issues with the Nigerian state and NNAMDI KANU is that they couldn't get him to promise that he would renounce his agitation for Biafra. That's the biggest problem. That was his main crime. They said it, if they even proposed to me that I should go tell him to enter his defense, and if he enters his defense, then if they release him, he should promise that he will form a political party and participate in politics. And if he can do that, they will have no problem with him. He said, no, I want the Biafran, I want my region to be different from Nigeria because Nigeria doesn't, cannot support our aspiration for greatness. Now, my caveat is that I am opposed to breaking up Nigeria. I'm a Pan-Africanist. But I have seen, read, and known that it is not a crime for people to seek self-determination. So the regional leaders we are talking about, I called all of them, I called all the governors, at least I know Soludo. I used to be able to reach him. I mentioned here that the governor of his state, Abia, was a columnist at Sahara Reporters. So I called a lot of them. No one of them picked my call. No one of them has called me back because what we want is not what they want. They want what they call a political solution. A political solution is that you jail him first and then we'll beg you to free him on certain conditions. So that tag of less convict, they wanted it badly. All of them are agreed on that. The question is, how did they release him? Nobody can tell you when they will release him. They don't plan to release him because of his refusal to endorse their political agenda in the Southeast. That is the problem. They don't want to hear his name. But the people of the Southeast, the regular people, are in love with him. And we've seen that with what happened in protests, how markets were closed across the country without a whimper. And they still are going to fight to ensure that NNAMDI KANU is free. I will still fight to ensure that NNAMDI KANU is free from this unjust incarceration into which he's been thrown. And don't forget, and I'll say this in closing, that this is the same way Ken Sowore was treated in 1995, this 2025. I guess every 20 years, or is it every 30 years, Nigeria needs a victim, either in prison or in the Golo time. And guess what? It happened in November 2025. Ken Sowore was November 1995. 30 years later, the country hasn't learned its lessons.
Sowore in the house. Now, Sowore, as you know, there's been a very strong speculation that there is a cabal that controls Nigeria's security. So how much influence does this cabal really have on national security, and how aware or constrained are presidents, both past and present, by this shadow network?
When people don't have anything to offer, they keep giving you excuses. There's a cabal, there's a group of advisors, there's a shadow cabinet, there's a kitchen cabinet. They have all kinds of label for them. But the question you should ask yourself is that if you are going to be president of Nigeria, didn't you go there with your own cabal? So it's a question of character of leadership. It's not any cabal. There's no cabal anywhere that you walk into Aso Rock and says you cannot govern. There's no cabal that says a bulldozer cannot construct a road. There's no cabal that stops, the cabal doesn't stop those in power from stealing. Like we had of the former central bank governor, Emefiele, and the rest of them that are now undergoing. This cabal doesn't stop them. But it is when it's time to perform that you start hearing of cabal. I've stopped giving those excuses, except where we have clear evidence of such people, like we had under Yaradua, where we knew that his wife and some people were, controlling Nigerians, lying about the health of her husband, who had died maybe months before they finally declared him dead, and they were controlling the country. But even at that, wherever you hear of cabal, there's also complicity at all levels of government. It's a democratic government. In the Tinubu regime now, the cabal is, number one, the president and his office and his staff, people he brought in from Lagos. Clearly, those are the cabal members.
But there are those who have argued.
In the judiciary...
Sorry, Sowore, but there are those who have argued...
Yeah,
there are those who have argued that this cabal exists, regardless of who the president is, and that they usually play a very prominent role in the decision that the presidents make. Sometimes they tie the president's hands behind his back. So are you saying this cabal doesn't exist?
So has any president ever told you, has any president ever told you that they tied his hand behind his back?
No, but they won't say that. But from the actions that we're seeing.
Then you help them repeat.
So you're saying no cabal exists? No cabal exists?
Yeah, you know, the number one cabal in the country is the president of the country. In a powerful presidency like Nigeria's presidency.
Okay.
There's nobody who tells the president what to do. The president has a final say. Of course, there might be people, there might be special interests. There are special interests everywhere in the world, politically. But in our own case, even the president of Nigeria is more powerful than the US president. All they do is what the president wants to hear. So if anybody is failing and they're telling there's a cabal, they're trying to shift the blame away from their own failure, glaring failure, to a shadowy group that you and I have no evidence exists. So that you keep helping them to repeat the excuse of why they failed in the first place. That's why we keep saying you should challenge these guys during the election. Don't let them run away from debates. Tackle them. You know, in the last election, we saw what you guys did in the press. You will not interview the people you claim are the main candidates. Every day you interview their minions. But when it comes to those of us who have ideas, we really get interviewed. Then when it comes to your analysts, they're analyzing the people who are going to fail. They don't analyze the people who have ideas. I saw it on this table on Arise TV. You have some political analysts, all of them. They're always analyzing the people who have failed in their past jobs or who are going to fail. When you ask them, well, what about the other candidates? They say, oh, those ones don't matter. But that is because you keep helping them to repeat the same lie as a cabal. How can somebody tie the hand of the president of Nigeria behind his back? Who? Who is that person? Is he the IG of police, or is he in the army? Is he retired or serving? Who? Is he a traditional ruler? There's nothing like that, because the way Nigerian society is, the person who is number one becomes everything. He's a traditional ruler, he's a chief priest, he's the president, he's the chief judge, he's the Senate president, he's the Speaker of the House.
But if that's
you know
the case,
how these things work.
If that's the
but
case,
when they want to lie to you, when they want to lie to you, they'll tell you, oh, somebody's holding, they tie somebody's back behind it. That's what judges always say to you all the time. Oh. Well, I would have given you bail. Somebody is tying my... How do you say that in a democratic society and we keep repeating it? If somebody's hand is tied behind his back, he should leave power. Resign. But let him use the last opportunity he has, grab the pen and resign, and let people whose hand cannot be tied behind their back assume power.